Good trailer. It's a very good trailer. So please welcome Shailene Woodley, Theo James, and Neil Berger. In a minute. Here they come. Keep cheering and whooping and so on because it makes them feel welcome. And then they'll enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, some of you genuinely sound like you're in pain. How are you all?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hey guys.
Yeah, I'm great. Look at this. This is nice, isn't it?
Thanks for coming out.
It is unsafely packed in here, I would say. As I mentioned briefly in the intro, the Divergent world created by Veronica Roth has this huge pre-existing fan base. The books were bestsellers. Did that influence you or make you think differently about getting involved with this project? Start with you, I guess, Neil.
Well, it's actually, I mean, the main thing is that it's really hard to get a movie into scene these days, to find your audience. And so to have a built-in audience of all these people that are so enthusiastic about the book is, it's an incredible advantage. So, it's a little daunting. You want to be faithful to the book and have people like it. But then it's also great that there's this built-in audience.
Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I think so. People ask, is there kind of pressure? But I think once you have the part and you have to kind of be fairly strong and forthright with your ownership of the character. So you kind of have to block that out. And, I think already I kind of had felt that I had a parallel with the character anyway. So it felt fairly natural.
Ooh, and that's French. So
he's Mexican in the film, actually. Cuatro.
Yeah. Such a bold decision to take as an actor.
Yeah.
And Shailene?
Yeah, I agree with basically what both of them said. It's nice that there is a built-in fan base, but when you do a film, you're sort of stuck in the bubble of what the director's vision is and what the script is, and as important as the book is, at the end of the day, you're making a movie based on the script, not the book.
And it's a big action story, really, with big themes within it, but also running concurrently and around this kind of quite personal love story. Basically, there's a lot of stuff going on and having to coexist. Was that difficult to achieve for you, Neil?
Well, that was the challenge, to balance it, to make it in sort of an intimate story, a very personal story from Triss's point of view, and have it be in her head, but then it's on this kind of grand societal stage. It's about where do you belong, and who am I? But it's also about how can we live together? How can we get along as a society or as a people?
And obviously asking a lot of your actors, these two in particular, I guess, to balance those things.
Yeah, no, but I mean they were certainly the best actors to do it. They're so great, and they're both just fantastic, and so that was easy.
Yeah, but we found definitely we had to keep an eye on that, didn't we? Like to always bring it back to, together really, to remember that there was you're telling the story because of the interaction of the people, and it's kind of pretentious as it sounds, it's like a human story, because you get mixed up in the big sequences and the action and stuff. So yeah, just look into each other's eyes, basically.
Yeah, just make sure we got those eye shots. We'll be all right. Yeah. The Triss character is very complex and multi-layered. How early on did you find Shailene and know that she was going to be right for the role?
Well, Shailene was my first choice for the role when I took the job, actually. I'd seen her in The Descendants, which is the movie, the George Clooney movie, which is so great. But to me, Shailene steals that movie, actually, and she had
which Clooney was furious about.
He was really, yeah. Still angry, but for me, Shailene had this sort of perfect combination of rebelliousness and vulnerability in that movie that wasn't exactly what Triss was going to be, but had the same kind of thing of Triss having a certain kind of innocence and then a really an inner strength actually to survive in this world. So she was my first choice when I arrived, began the movie.
And did you find the character of Triss easy to relate to from the off, Shailene?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I definitely relate to Triss, especially when I was her age. I think a lot of what she was going through, I found resonated with who I was
last year.
Last year, a few months ago, actually. But when you do go through so many changes when you're about 17, 18 years old, and for Triss to be in such a heightened reality and yet still at the core, I loved that at the core she was a very normal girl trying to figure out who she was while also having to sort of rise to the occasion and save the community around her, or take that upon herself to join hands with everyone and lead the way.
What were your references character-wise? Did you have any? Did you go a lot from the book? Did you talk to the author? Did you talk to Neil? Or did you just kind of...
I didn't talk to Veronica too much about Triss in general, just because I felt like my loyalty was to Neil, because, again, the movie we were making was based on the script that he was working on with the writer and whatnot. But I did go to the book for reference a lot of times the night before a big scene, because it was written from Triss's point of view. There was a lot of gaps that were filled in that weren't necessarily in the script.
Okay. I'd like to have a quick look at a clip now from the film, and this is essentially a sort of wooing masterclass, in my opinion, from Theo's character 4. So we can have a look at that now. Yeah, and that is wooing in a nutshell, really. You slightly cut a girl, and then you threaten her afterwards, and they, let me tell you, putty in your hands. 4 is, again, a very multi-layered character, and I can imagine difficult to cast. How long did you have to look before you found Theo, Neil?
Well, we felt like we were going to have a really easy time. We had such an easy time with Shailene, and we were going to have a sort of a worldwide search for Triss, and then we decided in our first week of pre-production, and so then we turned our eyes to finding 4, and it was not so easy. I mean, Shay is a really fierce actress. She's really strong, and it was we auditioned every young actor in the world. I'm not kidding. We saw people obviously in LA, but in Australia, here, in Germany, in everywhere, and we just couldn't find anybody that was sort of strong enough to go up against Shay, and which sounds sort of crazy, but it is something. When two actors get together, there's an energy, and so we needed somebody that was. I always said about 4 that if he took a step towards you, you would sort of involuntarily take a step back. And finally, we found Theo, and I was so relieved and happy. And then we did a screen test with Shailene and Theo, and it was fantastic because it actually had that quality of this really strong, powerful guy, and stronger than Shay. So in sort of an intimidating kind of presence, which was great, and a great actor, and all of it, the whole package, obviously. So
was just get that transcribed, printed out on your CV. I think it's a great sell.
Yeah, tattooed on myself.
Yeah. Was there a point during that casting process then that you were starting to panic and think,
yes,
where is my 4? Yes,
we were going. We were moving into production. We had sets being built and things like that, and so it was a huge relief, and actually more that it was a thrill actually to see them together, and it was great.
So if you were building sets, I assume you were getting calls from producers and sort of money men going, and have you cast 4 now? And you going,
yeah,
nearly.
Yeah, we got it under control.
Yeah, yeah. Don't you worry about that. You've said in interviews before, Theo, that there's a bit of kind of Paul Newman about 4. In what ways do you think?
When I read the book, I kind of what I responded to was a certain stillness to him, and an ability to be really present and to be listening at all times, but not necessarily having to be speaking, and not necessarily having to be loud or kind of forcing any sense of masculinity on someone. And there's a sense of, in his character, there's a sense of kind of mystery and danger, but then there's always something behind his eyes. There's always a kind of an empathy or something, and I thought that, and Paul Newman for me was a good reference because he is that kind of, well, he was that kind of actor. There's always something going on, and you're never sure exactly what side of the line he lies on, but you can't. There's a warmth there as well.
And I guess it's sort of about a presence then.
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted, the idea of a man who you feel his presence in the room, but he doesn't have to speak. And he can look at someone, and he can look at Triss, and he's not staring her out in like a I'm going to kill you way, but as in just he's so present and strong in his own sense of self that he doesn't have any qualms about being that guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, go on.
Actually, you're very much. I mean, and Theo, one of the things that was that I'll never forget in the room when you first walked in is you possess that as just a person yourself. You're able to walk into a room and sort of demand attention without saying anything, without even making eye contact with people. And I think it's a very rare quality to have, especially in an actor. I mean.
No, I think that's absolutely true because what you said is absolutely what was necessary for the character. But somebody else might have thought that as well, but they
had to act it,
but they wouldn't be
versus
able.
just living it.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to do it. So.
But Nia, I remember when I came in for the audition before I met Shay, he came downstairs and he was like, "Hey man, what's up?" And I was like, "Hey, is it good, man?" And he's like, "Shay's pretty tough." And I was like, "Okay, all right." Part of me was like, "What do I do with that?" And then the other half of me kind of laid down the gauntlet in a good way. So I came in and just punched her in the stomach. So
Yeah.
Essentially.
Showed her who was boss. It's nice for the director to just come down before an audition and put the frighteners on, you know. Let's go, good luck and everything, but it's going to be really hard.
Right. Well, it's who rises to that, basically.
Yeah. And I guess, Theo, you know that you are going to be the object of thousands of teenage girls' sort of drooling affections. Some of whom are here representing. Are you kind of ready for that?
I was born ready.
Which actually, when you analyse that as a statement, is really creepy.
yeah, exactly. Not sure
Just
what that
came out like a
means,
little
really.
Don Juan.
yeah, exactly. Don Juan. I think it's what I like is the character is not like what is great about the way Neil constructed it and when we saw it eventually is their relationship isn't one of I think it's a really interesting love story and it has all that chemistry and tension and all that kinetic energy, but it's not one of kind of deep panting breathing and kind of batting eyelashes. It's quite strong and functioning, if that makes sense. So that's what I kind of warm towards, and when they finally get together, it's a really good payoff because you haven't had lots of kind of heavy
Intimate
breathing.
moments.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
There's no sort of moony looks.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, moony looks is a good way of describing it. Actually.
How was the fight training and stuff? You both look like you can handle yourselves now.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was fight choreography is something I've never. You've done that before. You've done it before, right? In some.
A bit. Yeah.
It's interesting
Just like outside
because
pubs and stuff.
real training. It's interesting though because you have to sell a punch or sell an elbow and make it look really tough and really intimidating, and yet know your own power and your own strength to be able to stop it a few inches from I remember I was doing a fight scene with Miles Teller and I had to like hit him in the throat, and the stunt coordinator, who's this guy, he's got an eye patch and he's like quite tough and like really, really big, and he was like, just hit him hard, do this, and he's like telling me how to do it. I'm like, I'm gonna choke him if I do that. So you have to sell the strength and yet also handle your own, and so it's interesting. It was something I'd never done before. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And also, you have to be like aware of the situation at all times.
Yeah, you definitely have to sell it. I remember I kind of trained with a guy, an MMA dude, kind of separately to the shoot a couple of days a week, and he like the third day we're doing it, I was obviously fairly kind of knackered from shooting or whatever, and he was like, gave me the headgear, and I was like, man, like kind of in the middle of shooting a film, so I really shouldn't get punched in the face, and he was like, it's good to get punched in the face. Okay. Yeah, but I had the mask on, so the mask.
But you also didn't want to.
The scream mask.
I mean, what was great is actually we put you guys through the initiates all through a training process, a boot camp, and it was, I don't know how often you did, but sometimes Theo would run the boot camp.
Yeah.
We did about 3 days of boot camp
Yeah.
with like the whole with with us, and then as all of the Dauntless, really, essentially everyone who is a Dauntless was part of it. Maybe like 60 people, 70 people.
Yeah, and I took them as character through kind of a training day, basically for 2 or 3 days, which was good actually. And it sounds kind of ridiculous, but I'm in character, I have the accent, and everyone's in a way it set a good precedent for when you get on set, because everyone kind of suddenly you're in a space which feels semi-real, so that when you eventually do get on set and there's a big 60 key background, they've already kind of experienced it in a funny kind of way.
Some of them didn't like it, right? Miles didn't like being ordered around, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've never done the whole method acting thing. Like, I've just never done that before, so I thought it was sort of a joke. And Theo was like going up and down the aisles, and he was like, do this, do that, do this, do that. And I was sort of laughing to myself. And he comes up and he's like, give me 20 push-ups. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And he was like, give me 20 push-ups. And I was like, I just started laughing. And you were serious. And then I got embarrassed and had to do 20 freaking push-ups in front of like 70 people, 80 people. I was mad for like an hour.
And jumping off the trains all the time. And Shay fell off the train at one point, because obviously you have to do it loads and loads of times, so inevitably that's going to happen at some point. And but you took a real knock, but she didn't even want to go to the hospital. She was just like, "You're all right?" And she was definitely concussed. Which was like, "No, let's carry on."
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. It was terrifying, actually.
Yeah. From an insurance point of view, quite terrifying
exactly.
as well. Yeah.
No other reason.
Completely
Oh,
freaked
God.
the studio out.
I read in the production notes, but you get given production notes. It's 150 pages long.
Yeah.
Too long.
Page 79.
Yeah, and I found a quote that I really liked, which was this about you, Shailene. She likes to be dropped off for 2 weeks in Maine and then live on her own with a gun and a hatchet. What?
Not a hatchet. It would probably
is
be
that
more
your
like a
real life?
machete. Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I'm not dropped off like a helicopter, like ding. But I do have friends sort of scattered out in random remote parts of America who live off the grid. So it's fun to sort of crash with them for a little while, and remove myself from technology and whatnot.
That's when I knew I wanted her in the movie.
Yeah.
That I knew that she could do the
right?
acting, but then I knew that finding that out, I knew that she could do the the fierce warrior stuff. So.
Kate Winslet does a fantastic evil turn. Let's have a look at a clip now of her in evil action. It's good stuff. What was it like working with Kate?
Amazing.
Yeah, really, really, really good. She's very fun and nice and sweet, but as well as being a kind of consummate actress and someone that we revere as a kind of what she's done. But what we were saying before is that with Janine, which was really interesting, especially when we saw it, was because she's a great actress, but she's actually has an inherent warmth and kind of inability to kind of feel empathy towards her. Her character portrayal of Janine isn't just simply the kind of bad guy. She's also someone that you understand what she's motivated by. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Sort of about where that comes from and what her motivations are.
She has sort of a maternal quality in the beginning of the movie. She's almost like a second mother to you in a strange way. We were sort of playing with that idea.
A crush on Tris, but I don't know. Maybe
in
it
a
was
maternal
thing.
way.
Yeah.
Does it mean?
Let's move on from maternal crushes, I think. Now to a question I imagine you get asked about 20 times a day. Which faction? Yeah. Just give your answer and we'll just move on.
My standard answer is Gryffindor, but
yeah.
I'd probably be like a mix of Dauntless and Erudite, I think. Yeah.
Abnegation.
Okay.
People are. Yeah. Oh, I know.
Real
thank
pity.
you for your sympathy. I know. I gave and gave and gave, and nobody said thank you.
Shailene?
I'd probably be a mix between Dauntless and Amity.
Okay. I think that, The mixture is a bit of a cop-out because they're not really providing that as
Mostly
as an option, are they?
we would be
choose
all be
Dauntless if I had to
factionless.
choose Dauntless.
Factionless would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
No, it'd be great. You wouldn't
What?
have anyone telling you what to do.
None of the factionless people in the film look happy.
No.
Have you read the second book?
No.
All right.
Okay, fine. There we go. Fine. There's a huge principal cast, more than you'd see in most films. I think like 12 or 15 main parts, which is a lot to manage. How did you cope with all of those actors on set now?
It was a lot. I mean, there's a lot of story in the movie.
We had a wrangler.
Yeah, we had a wrangler.
Yeah, an actor wrangler. That's good.
Me. So, but yeah, there's a lot of characters in the movie and a lot of actors to go with them, and it was fantastic. But it was a challenge to get all of their storylines in, and you know, there's Kate Winslet and there's Ashley Judd and Tony Goldwyn, but then as you say, there's this group of there's a dozen people who are under the age of 25 or something like that, which was great fun. They're all great actors, they're all good people, and they're all fearless and willing to do what they needed to do, and slightly not completely focused all the time. I don't know. Christian Madsen, Miles Teller.
What was the look that you were going for in terms of the landscape? Because it's kind of it's a dystopia, but it's sort of masquerading as a utopia, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's right. Actually, I wanted to do. We've seen other movies set in the future and that are dystopic or post-apocalyptic, and so one idea was to do it a little bit differently, and that was in two ways. One was to play it as kind of a communal utopia to start with. Triss wants to belong in this society. She wants to find her place in it. So we wanted to show the world as a place that was worth becoming a part of. It seemed to be a successful society to start with. And so we kind of shot it in a, with warmer tones and with kind of a luminosity to start with. And then we also wanted to shoot it with as little sort of digital visual effects as possible. So we shot on the streets of Chicago. We used Chicago really as a character in it.
I was going to say that it doesn't look to the sort of untrained eye like there's much CGI in there. It looks a lot more real than the kind of sci-fi landscapes we're probably accustomed to.
Yeah, as it turns out, there is a lot, but it's kind of invisible. It's sort of knitting the scenes together or removing things or just adding a few sort of futuristic flourishes.
Okay.
Chicago actually does look like that right now.
Yeah,
it's
that's the way.
Weird.
Yeah, what you mean with the windmills and stuff?
Yeah, the lake gone.
The craters and all.
I think that was actually a really interesting, because I remember we talked about that at the beginning of filming, and I thought that was definitely an interesting way to go, because Neil was saying you need to set up a functioning society to buy into in the first place, and then you have somewhere to go when the fissures and the cracks start appearing and this society kind of starts crumbling. Whereas if you introduce a world which kind of doesn't seem particularly well functioning,
places. So you're expecting this to have a sort of broader appeal?
I think it does have a broad appeal, but you're right. I mean, it's based on a young adult novel, but for me, I wasn't, I didn't feel like I was making a young adult film. I wasn't making a film for young adults. It appeals to young people, obviously, but for me, I thought that the themes in it were interesting for everybody, whether you're 18 or 28 or 48 or whatever. So, yeah. And it came out in the United States and North America about a week ago, and people seem to like it. So it's doing well, yeah.
Let's have maybe a last clip. This is quite a sort of dark, brutal scene.
Oh, good.
Yeah. That scene in the film made me think to myself, I just want to be in a situation once in my life where I get to say to someone, grab the rail, or don't. I really liked it. It made a big impression on me. Are you looking forward to the next 2 films? They start shooting soon, right?
Yeah, we start the next one sometime later this summer. Don't really know exactly when, but yeah, we are. It'll be weird though because
I'm not directing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, was this one that bad for you, Neil?
No, but it was
There's not time.
We finished editing I looked at the final print of the movie on March 2nd or something
Oh,
like
wow.
that, which was whatever 4 weeks ago. So there was just for a while I thought I was going to be able to do it, but then I was going to edit it and prep the next movie. But then we shot some additional scenes to kind of explain the world better and some other things. And once we started doing that, it was too crazy, and then so it was going to be impossible. So somebody else is doing it. Yeah.
You're gonna miss this guy though, right?
Oh yeah, it'll be so weird because I mean Neil A is the one who cast us, and so from the very beginning it's been his vision and sort of this world that he's created, and so I honestly it doesn't feel real. I keep wanting to be like, oh yeah, see you. Oh. Like it feels it's so sad. It's weird. It'll be weird.
Yeah, and we've kind of gone on the whole journey together, so it does feel kind of strange and surreal. But I mean, you'll be able to.
I'm an executive producer on it, so
You'll come and visit, won't
Are you
you?
really?
I'll come and visit. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
So you can whisper in my ear, and I'll I'll relay it.
We'll have two directors directing.
Do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, just keep going over to Neil and going, would you have done that? No. Just some miscellaneous stuff just to clear things up for me. Some things I thought when I watched the film. The capture the flag scene just looked like it was amazing fun, was it?
So much fun.
Just like a big sort of paintball game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a really hot night, wasn't it?
No, it was a freezing night. Where were you?
Oh yeah, good point.
It was freezing.
Yeah.
But it was
Drinking
early
too
April in
much, obviously.
Chicago is like 35 degrees
Yeah,
Fahrenheit.
I thought it was
Fahrenheit.
boiling.
So
I was
I
like,
don't know.
Fahrenheit.
having some kind of.
Am I
No,
hot? Am I
that-
cold?
that scene was actually really. It was fun because it was completely lit by flares, right?
Yeah.
So there weren't any lights other than flares.
There were a
right?
few other lights, but that was the
So
the
it
essential
actually
light.
felt sort of like there was something intense going on versus us just being like, oh, green screen explosion, oh, green screen explosion.
Did you keep your costumes because they're snazzy as hell?
Yeah, you wear yours to bed every night.
I wear mine down the street.
That's why you think it's hot the whole time.
Yeah, just constantly in that jacket, riding futuristic motorcycles. Not that I do that in the film. No, I didn't keep it. No, you?
Nah.
Unlucky. Well, you get to wear them again.
They're just waiting for them to get back
exactly,
in them.
Exactly. Take them when the other films are done. And last thing, Dauntless always jump off the train, jump onto the train, jump off the train. Why not wait until the stop closest to where they're going and then get off?
Because they don't have to.
Yeah, no, good
Yeah.
answer. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
I'll just see if I was Dauntless, which I clearly wouldn't be. I'd just wait for the stop, just tap my Oyster card, and off I go. Okay, I think we have got time for some questions from. Oh, no one wants to ask questions. Okay, we'll just end it. So I think the first time I saw go up was here. Mike's will come over.
Hi, I saw the film last night and I thought it was absolutely incredible, so well done. Thank you. And, oh shit, my question's gone. Oh no. It was a particular scene in the book that you were looking forward to adapt to the screen?
I like the end sequence where it's essentially a kind of it's the big climax of the film, but the bit between where Thor and Triss are fighting, and then she kind of wakes him up, because it's a great kind of action sequence, but then at the heart of it is something between them, some kind of emotionality. So I was kind of looking forward to that, and Thor gets to unleash on some hell.
I was looking forward to the zipline scene actually, because in the first script it wasn't in there, and then you added it back in, and so I was really excited to film it. What I didn't realize is that we wouldn't actually be doing the zipline, so it was like
You did a little bit.
We did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we strung a
But did we actually use that?
We
that
did.
footage?
Yeah. So for the end of it,
So we did a little bit in the streets of Chicago, but the majority of it was in a sling in a stage with green screen and this giant enormous fan like the size of that window blowing at me, with Neil and a megaphone over the fan going, now react to your left, now squint, now be scared.
It's hard to do.
But it turned out really well. It's Theo's favorite scene.
It is my favorite scene, genuinely my favorite scene. I love that. Because the song as well, I've said this like 60 times, but anyway, yes, I like it.
Okay, yes, big glasses.
Hi. I got to see the movie last night, yesterday. Thank you for the movie. It's amazing. But I have a question for Shay. I was wondering, but there's very emotional scenes. I was wondering how you managed to act that scenes. I mean, I think a lot of us almost cried in that scene. So I was wondering, I don't know.
Yeah. Why did you cry when you were acting?
Or how do you?
You know, the nice thing about this movie is that so much of it is about action that when you do have those really emotional scenes, like the scene with Trish's mom and the scene at the end with Four and the scene in the beginning with her family, to be able to sort of tap into those deep emotional places sort of felt like a nice relief from doing fight scenes all day or whatnot. And I got really lucky. I mean, the scene with Ashley and I really connected on a personal level. And so it was sort of simple in a way for me to imagine that actually happening to her was quite heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. And holding sort of this limp woman in my arms was really tragic. And so yeah, I guess with crying in really emotional scenes, you just have to put yourself in those shoes and just fully imagine, not pretend like it's happening to you, but if that scenario were happening in that moment, how would you react, kind of thing.
So the lady over here is going crazy. So why I'm giving her a mic, I don't know.
Well, my question is for Theo. And I am here representing all the fans from Brazil. And we want
They don't know that, but yeah. Okay.
We want to know where your voice comes from. Your voice.
My voice.
I'm joking.
Oh,
No, I'm
okay.
joking.
I was going
No,
how
I'm
do I
joking.
answer that one?
I'm joking. No, we just want to know which one was the most difficult part for you both to do, like the one that you were very afraid of.
I'm not necessarily afraid of it, but we definitely spent time on the scene where Trish and Four, get together and they kiss, because it only happens once in the movie, and we wanted to honor it and make it good and make it, have it kind of live and work, but also Neil as well, us three really, we didn't want it to become cheesy or perfunctory there for just the sake of being there. We wanted it to have a real journey in itself in the scene. So we kind of worked on it together, didn't we?
We did.
We did, yeah. I mean, part of it is that, Theo has to take his shirt off in that scene, and in so many young adult franchises especially, there's so many moments like that, right? And we wanted it to feel real, we wanted it to feel genuine without it sort of being exploitative and... and whatnot.
And there were a few kind of functional things that were slightly difficult with it, because it's like they're connecting for the first time. There's quite a lot of
He's
sexual
like,
chemistry.
yeah, my dad abused me, and then
you have to show your tattoos, which are on your back. So it's like, you're here, and then you're, oh shit, I need to. And then it's turning around, and then do I put the shirt back on? And I keep it.
We actually filmed
Of
the
course
scene.
you don't.
Yeah, we shot it twice.
And it didn't work. They came back to us a few weeks later. They're like, "Hey guys, we got to rewrite that scene and shoot it again because it wasn't good."
Join me in saying thank you. I don't actually say it, just applaud to say thank you to Shailene, Theo, and Neil.
Thank you.
Divergent is
Thank
out
you.
on Friday, this Friday, the 4th of April, so go and see it. Goodbye, good night, bye, bye, bye.
Thanks, guys.